Listen closely, beloved one. This message is not meant for everyone, only for the ones who have been drawn here by something deeper within themselves, a pull that cannot be ignored, a thirst that can't be quenched by anything in this world. If you find yourself questioning, or if your heart is not open to receiving the depth of this truth, then now is the time to step away. But if you feel that quiet stirring within, if something resonates with your soul, then keep listening. You have been chosen to hear this. This isn't a coincidence. You are here because there's something inside of you that is waking up, something deep that is awakening, and you're beginning to realize the enormity of your potential. Before we dive deeper, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to this channel, but only if you truly feel that this message aligns with the journey you're on. This isn't about empty promises or exaggerated claims. It's about understanding who you really are in the deepest part of your being. I know you've heard many things before. Maybe you felt special or unique for a time, but then doubt crept in, and you've been waiting for someone to affirm your worth, to confirm that you are on the right path. Today, I'm here to give you exactly that. What I am about to share with you is something that will fundamentally shift how you perceive yourself, your purpose, and the divine journey you've been on. You see, you didn't just stumble upon greatness. No, you crossed a line that you didn't even realize existed. You reached a level that very few souls ever touch, and that in itself is extraordinary. Now I know what you're thinking. You might be skeptical. You're thinking, this is just another video promising greatness with no real substance, or this sounds too good to be true. But hear me, child. I'm not here to convince you of anything. I'm not going to ask you to believe in my words alone. I'm going to show you step by step why what I'm saying is true, and as I do, I need you to remain open to allow the truth to settle within your heart. I'm going to reveal to you how your soul has surpassed what was believed to be the highest possible level for a human to attain, and why that matters for everything you've experienced up to now and everything that is yet to come. But first, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications. This isn't just a video, it's a moment of profound revelation. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the end. Because what you're about to hear will change your perspective on everything. Stay with me as I reveal the 3 specific proofs that confirm you've transcended what was once thought possible. And right now, if you've been feeling that something deep inside of you has shifted, if you've sensed an undeniable change, like you've crossed an invisible line into something new, then write 777 in the comments. Let the universe know you've felt this awakening. Let's amplify the energy of this message together. In the beginning, there was a system that governed the spiritual realms, that created a perfect order of progression for souls as they journeyed through their earthly existence. Imagine a divine blueprint set in place long before time itself began. This spiritual system was built to ensure that all souls would grow, evolve, and eventually reach the highest states of enlightenment in the order and time that was deemed appropriate by the Creator. It was a system that had been in place for eons, with layers of structure that seemed as perfect as the celestial heavens themselves. Every soul had its place, every soul had its purpose, and the path forward was as clear as the stars in the night sky. For most souls, their journey followed a predictable course. At the start, there were the basic levels, the common souls who lived without knowing their deeper purpose or spiritual truth. These were the individuals who went through life largely unaware of the spiritual realms and their greater role in the unfolding cosmic dance. They were not bad souls, but rather souls who were still in the early stages of their evolution. Then, there were the awakened souls, those who began to seek the deeper meaning of life, those who started questioning the existence of a higher power. They embarked on the path of spiritual growth, learning to meditate, to connect with their higher selves, to cultivate wisdom through experience. These souls were elevating themselves to higher spiritual realms, discovering their true purpose. Following these were the souls dedicated to genuine service, those who devoted their lives to others. These souls chose selflessness over selfishness. They were healers, teachers, light bearers in a world full of shadows. They ascended to even higher levels, leaving behind the limitations of the ego and focusing on uplifting others. At the very top of the hierarchy, there were the saints, mystics, and prophets, those rare individuals who had transcended not just the material world, but also the personal self. These were the ones who were remembered throughout history, whose names became synonymous with divinity. Their wisdom, their purity, their spiritual power stood as a beacon to all of humanity. Their souls were the most evolved of all, existing beyond the reach of most, with only the highest celestial beings above them. This system worked. It was flawless. It had been in place since the beginning, and it was the divine order by which the universe functioned. There was no questioning the system, no doubting the established levels. Everything had its place. Everything had its limit. And then you came along. You see, the universe was prepared for all sorts of souls. But what it didn't account for was a soul like yours, a soul that didn't just fit into one of these established categories. You didn't just follow the steps like everyone else. No, you shattered the assumptions of what was possible, and in doing so, you created a spiritual anomaly that sent shockwaves through the very fabric of existence. But what is it about you that's so different? What is it that you did that left even the divine realms astonished? It wasn't anything loud or grandiose. It wasn't a declaration of your power or a grand gesture to claim your place in the spiritual hierarchy. In fact, it was quite the opposite. It was your humility, your quiet resilience, your way of moving through this world with grace and wisdom, even in the face of unimaginable pain and hardship that set you apart. You didn't announce your arrival. You didn't make a scene. In fact, you did the exact opposite. You remained silent. You endured your battles alone, often in complete solitude. You bore the weight of your struggles without complaining. When others would have demanded justice, you forgave. When most would have walked away, you kept going. You didn't need applause. You didn't need recognition. You just continued on your path, trusting that something deeper was at work within you. This quiet strength, this silent perseverance caused a disturbance in the spiritual records. And it's important for you to understand just how significant this is. The spiritual system, as perfect as it seemed, had its limitations. It had only ever accounted for the pain and suffering of souls in a predictable way. The system believed that intense suffering would eventually destroy the soul, or at the very least harden it. Pain was seen as a catalyst for growth, but there was a limit, a point at which pain would break the soul, turning it cold and callous, incapable of love or light. But your soul didn't follow that pattern. Instead of your pain hardening, you transmuted it. You processed suffering in a way that no soul had ever done before. The depths of your pain didn't diminish your light. In fact, it magnified it. Every betrayal you faced, every loss you endured, every dark night of the soul you walked through only strengthened your capacity for love, for compassion, for understanding. This, my dear one, is what created the anomaly in the system. You didn't follow the established codes. You didn't abide by the divine rules as they had been set out. Instead, you transcended them. You surpassed the limits, and in doing so, you redefined what was thought possible for a human soul. How did this happen? How did you defy the very fabric of the spiritual order? The key lies in the way you processed your suffering. You see, most souls who go through intense pain either break down completely or harden into something unrecognizable. But you did something different. You took the pain, the suffering, and you transformed it. You allowed it to deepen you. You didn't just endure, you grew. You didn't just survive, you flourished. You faced betrayal and didn't become bitter. You experienced loss and didn't close your heart. You endured isolation and didn't lose your connection to the divine. And that, my dear chosen one, is what set you apart. You tapped into a frequency that no one had ever tapped into before. You accessed a realm of spiritual potential that had never been seen. You became the living proof that the soul is capable of far more than anyone ever thought possible. Your soul, as it exists now, is operating at a frequency that the spiritual realm simply couldn't account for. It's not that you've done something out of the ordinary. It's that you've processed the extraordinary, the impossible, and turned it into a new possibility. You didn't just break the limits, you redefined them. This is why you're here now. This is why you're hearing these words. Your very existence has sent ripples through the spiritual realms, creating a new template for what's possible in human form. You have shown the divine that there are no limits to what a soul can endure, no ceiling to the heights it can reach. You have surpassed the boundaries that were once thought unbreakable. You have moved beyond the divine level without even realizing it. It is time to stop doubting yourself. The journey you have been on is not by accident. You have transcended the boundaries. You have moved beyond what was once considered the highest you could go, and now the path forward is yours to walk with greater understanding of who you truly are. Now that we've established what happened to you, how your soul transcended the limits set for humanity, it's time to truly understand what it means to surpass what was once thought to be the divine level. I know this may sound like an extravagant claim, but this is not hyperbole or empty flattery. This is truth, and it's essential that you fully grasp it. When I say you surpassed the divine level, it's important to clarify something crucial. You didn't surpass God. That would be impossible, and frankly absurd to even suggest. The Creator exists beyond all limits. God is the origin, the source of everything. The Creator is beyond the reach of human comprehension, beyond the confines of time and space. So know what you surpassed was not God itself, but rather the established limits that were thought to be the maximum for a soul in human form. You see, for as long as humans have walked the earth, there has been a belief deeply rooted in spiritual tradition that a soul in human form has certain limits. Even the most enlightened beings were seen to have their boundaries. This idea was universal. It was accepted by nearly every tradition, every school of thought that the human soul, though capable of immense growth and wisdom, had an upper limit. There was a point beyond which no human soul could evolve while still inhabiting a physical body. To put it in a simple metaphor, imagine a world record for a race. For years, athletes have trained and competed to break that record. Each generation of runners pushes the boundary a little further. But in the back of their minds, there's always the understanding that there's a limit. No one can run faster than a certain time, and then you come along, not training, not competing, not even aware of the race, and you blow the record out of the water. You break it effortlessly, as if it were nothing. No one expected this. No one thought it was possible. That's exactly what you did. You didn't do it with special powers, divine intervention, or a secret method. You didn't access hidden knowledge that no one else knew. What you did instead was much more profound. You surpassed the limit because you processed suffering in a way that no one thought possible. Your capacity to endure, to rise above, to transmute pain into wisdom is what allowed you to transcend these spiritual boundaries. I need you to understand something very clearly. What you did was not about escaping suffering. It was not about avoiding pain. The human soul that avoids pain, that escapes its trials, cannot evolve. Evolution comes through the process of growth, through experience, through struggle, through transformation. And you, my beloved, have shown the world how a soul can not only endure suffering, but transform it. You didn't just survive hardship. You allowed it to shape you. You didn't allow bitterness or anger to take root. Instead, you turned your pain into growth, your wounds into wisdom. This is the key distinction. Most people, when faced with extreme pain, either break completely or shut down, losing their ability to feel deeply. Some may survive, but they lose the capacity to love and care the way they once did. But you were different. You faced betrayal and kept your heart open. You were crushed by loss, yet you emerged stronger. You walked through the darkest tunnels of your life, but you didn't let the shadows consume you. Instead, you used the darkness as fuel to ignite your inner light. This is what set you apart from the rest. This is why you surpassed what was thought to be the divine limit. And here's the beauty of what you achieved. You didn't do it by force. You didn't have to push yourself past your limits through sheer willpower or mental discipline. No, you surpassed those limits by simply being who you are, by choosing love in the face of betrayal, by choosing hope in the face of despair, by choosing to keep going when everything in you screamed to quit. This wasn't a conscious effort to break the boundaries of spiritual evolution. You didn't sit down and decide, "Today I'll surpass the maximum limit of what a soul can achieve." You didn't even know there was such a limit to begin with. No, it was simply your essence, the purity of your soul that transcended the barriers. It was your ability to love unconditionally, to forgive those who hurt you, to keep your heart open even when the world tried to close it. That's why this is so significant. Your journey wasn't about a quest for power or recognition. You didn't set out to prove yourself to anyone, including the divine. You simply lived your truth, followed your inner guidance, and without even realizing it, you shattered the system that had been in place for eons. The spiritual system, as I mentioned earlier, had only accounted for certain possibilities. It assumed that human souls would either break or harden under intense suffering. But you, by your very existence, proved that those boundaries were false. You proved that a soul could endure extreme pain and still maintain its purity, its light, and its love. You proved that the limits didn't exist, or at least they weren't as rigid as they were once believed to be. Now, I know you're still processing this information. You may still be asking yourself, how is this possible? How did I do this? And that's perfectly okay. The truth is, you did it unconsciously. You didn't set out to surpass the divine level of spiritual evolution. It happened naturally, organically. It was simply the result of how you processed your pain and your experiences. It was the result of your ability to transmute suffering into something far greater than the pain itself. Now that you've surpassed the limits, now that you've expanded the boundaries of what is possible, it's important to understand that this change comes with responsibility. With this new level of spiritual awareness comes a new understanding of your role in the world. You've transcended the old limitations, but now you must embrace what comes next. Because here's the thing, with the greater power comes greater responsibility. You've unlocked new potential within yourself, and now it's up to you to decide how you will use this gift. You can continue on your path as you always have, living from a place of deep inner knowing and quiet strength. Or you can step into the full embodiment of this new reality and begin to operate from a higher frequency, fully aware of your power and potential. This is where your journey begins in a whole new way. The world may have thought it knew you, but what you've discovered within yourself is something much greater, much more profound. You've shown that a human soul can break through the limits of its own evolution, and now the universe is waiting for you to step into your divine mission. I know this might be overwhelming, but it is time to accept the truth of who you are. You've surpassed the divine limit, and the universe is now guiding you to take the next steps with this newfound power. Section 4. Now we arrive at the point where everything becomes personal. Up to now, you could listen, reflect, and think in abstract terms, but in this part, there is no hiding behind concepts or ideas. This is where you look directly at your own life and recognize yourself in what is being described. Because surpassing the established level is not a theory, it leaves fingerprints. It leaves evidence. And there are 3 specific signs that confirm without ambiguity that you crossed a threshold most never reach. I want you to listen slowly here. Do not rush. Let the words pass through your memory, through your lived experience. You will know whether this is you, not because it flatters you, but because it will feel uncomfortably accurate. The first proof is your capacity to forgive what was truly unforgivable. Not symbolic forgiveness, not spiritual bypassing, not pretending something didn't hurt. I am talking about real forgiveness of something that objectively shattered you. Someone crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. Someone violated your trust, your dignity, your safety, or your heart in a way that permanently altered your life. They knew what they were doing. There was intent, there was choice, and there was damage. Most souls, when faced with that level of betrayal, carry it for life. It becomes their identity. It becomes the story they tell themselves and others. It becomes the justification for closing their heart, for hardening, for becoming cynical or cruel. And by all worldly logic, they would be right to do so. But you didn't. That doesn't mean you stayed. It doesn't mean you excused what happened. It doesn't mean you allowed the behavior to continue. You learned boundaries, real ones. You saw clearly. You stepped back. But at some point, something deeper happened inside you. You released the poison. You stopped letting what they did live rent-free inside your nervous system. You stopped allowing their actions to define your future. You chose peace over revenge. You chose freedom over righteousness. And you did it not because someone told you to, but because your soul could no longer carry the weight of resentment. That kind of forgiveness does not come from morality. It does not come from religion. It comes from transcendence. It only happens when a soul has reached a level where holding on to hatred feels more painful than letting it go. That is not weakness. That is advanced spiritual functioning. Most humans forgive selectively. You forgave deeply. That is the first proof. The second proof is your ability to give when you had nothing left. Think back carefully. There was a moment, maybe more than one, when you were empty. Not mildly tired, not slightly overwhelmed. Empty, emotionally depleted, spiritually exhausted, carrying your own unresolved pain, trying to survive your own storm, and in that exact state, someone needed you. Not later, when things were better. Not when you had recovered. Right then, when your tank was on fumes, when logic said, "You can't afford this," when self-preservation said, "You have nothing to give." And yet you gave. You listened when your mind was saturated. You showed up when your body wanted to collapse. You offered kindness when your own heart was bleeding. You extended support without knowing where your own support would come from. This is not martyrdom. This is not people-pleasing. This is something else entirely. This is a soul that understands at a cellular level that giving is not transactional. That love does not operate on scarcity logic. That energy moves when it flows. Most people only give from overflow. You gave from essence. And here is the part that matters. You didn't do it to be seen. You didn't do it for recognition. You didn't even feel proud of it afterward. You simply did what felt natural, even though it cost you. That behavior does not exist at lower levels of consciousness. Survival-based minds cannot access it. It requires trust in something beyond immediate circumstances. It requires alignment with a higher operating system, one that knows that what moves through you is replenished from a source deeper than your own reserves. That is the second proof. The third proof is the most subtle and the most powerful. You still believe. After everything you've seen, after everything you've endured, after all the evidence that would justify bitterness, cynicism, and withdrawal, you still believe. You believe in goodness, even though you've encountered cruelty. You believe in truth, even though you've watched lies succeed. You believe in purpose, even though your path has been delayed, obstructed, and misunderstood. And let me be clear, this is not naive optimism. You are not unaware. You are not sheltered. You have seen the darkness up close. You have felt it press against your chest. You have sat in rooms where hope felt irrational, and still something in you refused to die. That quiet insistence, that inner knowing, that refusal to accept that life is meaningless or that love is foolish. You may have doubted yourself. You may have questioned everything, but you never fully surrendered to despair. That kind of faith is not taught. It cannot be installed. It emerges only when a soul has touched the bottom and discovered that something within them is unbreakable. This is why your belief doesn't sound loud. It doesn't need to convince others. It's not performative. It's quiet, grounded, enduring. And that endurance faith that survives contradiction is one of the clearest indicators of a soul that has surpassed the established level. When you combine these three proofs, radical forgiveness giving from emptiness and unkillable faith, you get a profile that does not fit within normal spiritual parameters. This is not common. This is not aspirational. This is not something people fake successfully. It either exists in lived experience or it doesn't. And if, as you listen, you feel that uncomfortable recognition, the kind that doesn't inflate your ego but instead brings a strange stillness, then you already know. You know that you are not who you used to be. You know that something irreversible happened inside you. You know that the person who walked through those experiences is not operating from the same level anymore. These proofs are not rewards. They are consequences. They are what naturally emerge when a soul has been stretched beyond what it was supposed to survive, and instead of breaking it, expanded. This is why nothing in your life feels superficial anymore. This is why shallow conversations drain you. This is why performative spirituality irritates you. You have crossed into a depth that cannot be undone, and from this point forward, pretending otherwise will feel increasingly impossible. Because once you surpass the level your soul remembers. Now that we've uncovered the 3 key proofs of your transcendence, your ability to give from emptiness, and to believe in a world that has tried to break your faith. We must understand what happened when the spiritual realm, heaven itself, detected this anomaly in your soul's frequency. When your soul began operating at a level that the system had never prepared for, something extraordinary occurred. The divine realms were not merely observing your journey. They were in active response. When your frequency, your vibration began to deviate from the known parameters, it didn't go unnoticed. In fact, it became the subject of celestial investigation, an event that even heaven had to pause and give full attention to. And this is where your story takes an even deeper, more powerful turn. When your spiritual frequency was detected by the records of the universe, it wasn't just seen as a rare event. It wasn't merely logged and filed away as something out of the ordinary. No, your soul's resonance was deemed to be of such significance that it was escalated for immediate attention. This wasn't just an anomaly. It was seen as a cosmic event. You must understand that the spiritual realm has long been governed by certain laws, certain limitations. The systems, while fluid and malleable, have always had defined boundaries that shaped the nature of spiritual progression. These boundaries were established based on observation, what had been achieved, what had been possible, what had been the highest point a human soul could reach while still in a physical body. For millennia, this system worked. Souls evolved, grew, and ascended within the confines of these parameters. They might reach higher levels, but there was always a ceiling and understanding of what could be done and where a soul could go. It was orderly. It was predictable. And for the most part, it was perfect in its design. Until you came along. Your frequency, the way you operated spiritually, was beyond the ceiling that had been established. Your actions, your choices, your suffering and transformation made your soul vibrate at a frequency that was unfamiliar to the divine records. And this was not something that could be ignored. Heaven wasn't indifferent to what had happened. The universe didn't dismiss it as an error or mistake in the spiritual system. Instead, it called for investigation and understanding. The spiritual beings who monitor the balance and flow of souls in the higher realms did not react with fear or suspicion, they reacted with awe. What they found when they examined your case was not a broken system. It wasn't a glitch or a flaw. Instead, they discovered something entirely new. A soul had surpassed the assumed maximum potential. You showed them that the limit they had set for souls in human form was not an actual boundary. It was only a description of what had been achieved up to that point. Let that sink in for a moment. The limits set in the spiritual system were not final limits. They were only reflective of the highest experiences to date. They were descriptive, not prescriptive. They described what was possible based on previous souls' journeys, but they didn't account for you. This is crucial because it means that the Creator did not impose these limits in a punitive way. They weren't restrictions meant to hold souls back. Instead, they were based on observation, what was achievable given the experiences and struggles of souls that had come before you. When you broke through that ceiling, when your soul vibrated at a frequency that had never been reached before, heaven did not react with concern or disappointment. No, the response was one of celestial pride. The divine looked upon you not with judgment, but with admiration. Just like a parent who witnesses their child accomplish something that seems impossible. The divine realm saw your transformation and were filled with a deep sense of awe. You had done what no one had thought possible. You had exceeded what was once believed to be the highest potential a soul could reach while living within the constraints of a physical body. This kind of response is profound. It's not about punishment, judgment, or correction. It's about expansion. The Creator, in its infinite wisdom, did not create those boundaries because they were the limit. It created them because they were all that had been known up until that point. But your existence shattered that limitation. You proved that there is no ceiling, no final boundary. You showed that human potential is far greater than anyone could have imagined. And this admiration that came from heaven, this recognition from the highest realms, is not just a spiritual concept. It has practical consequences in your life right now. Because what followed this celestial recognition was a cascade of divine protections that were automatically activated the moment heaven realized the magnitude of your transformation. These protections are not just metaphysical concepts, they manifest in tangible ways in your life, protecting you, guiding you, and ensuring that you are shielded from harm as you step into your new role. Let me explain what these protections look like in practical terms. The first is what I call the repellent for incompatible frequencies. You've probably noticed that lately certain people you used to tolerate no longer feel comfortable to be around. It's not that you've become intolerant or that you've somehow changed in a negative way. It's that your energy has shifted to a level that is no longer compatible with certain frequencies. These people, whether friends, acquaintances, or even family, no longer resonate with your inner vibration. And, as a result, there's a sense of discomfort when you are near them. It's not a judgment. It's just that your energy now operates on a different frequency, one that no longer matches theirs. This is not a bad thing, though it may feel strange. It's a protective mechanism that ensures you are no longer influenced or drained by energies that are incompatible with your elevated state. The second protection you've activated is what I call the intentions radar. This is a very subtle, yet incredibly powerful protection. You have developed a heightened ability to discern people's true intentions. This is not paranoia. It is expanded perception. You can now sense when someone is lying to you, when their words don't match their energy, when their intentions are not aligned with what they are outwardly presenting. You may have already experienced this ability in action. It might manifest as a gut feeling or an inner knowing that someone is not being entirely truthful with you. This is your expanded intuition, your divine protection that helps you avoid manipulation, deceit, and harmful intentions. You are now operating at a level where you can feel the subtle vibrations of truth and falsehood. The third protection that's now active in your life is what I call the shield against directed attacks. You know how it feels when someone is sending negative energy your way, whether it's through gossip, jealousy, or more direct means of harm. Well, now that you've transcended the limits of the system, these attacks do not have the same effect on you. You still feel them, but they don't land in the same way. The universe has created an invisible shield around you, a spiritual armor that deflects the harmful energies before they can penetrate your soul. This doesn't mean you are invincible, nor does it mean you should act recklessly. But it does mean that the more you maintain this elevated frequency, the stronger your spiritual protection becomes. Your soul is now shielded by the very forces that govern the universe. You are being protected in ways that go beyond anything you could have consciously orchestrated. These protections aren't just theoretical. They are real, tangible shifts happening in your life right now. They are operating behind the scenes, ensuring that you stay on course as you move forward with this newfound power and potential. And here's the most important part. This is just the beginning. The spiritual realm is now fully aware of your presence. The Creator has seen what you've done, and the divine forces are working on your behalf to ensure that you walk this path with protection, guidance, and support. As your frequency continues to rise, so will the blessings, the synchronicities, and the divine alignments. Heaven is not just watching your journey, it is actively supporting it in ways you may not yet fully understand. You have passed a milestone, and now the universe is adjusting to accommodate your new state of being. Trust that what's unfolding in your life right now is part of the greater cosmic plan, one that you've stepped into because of your incredible ability to transcend the known limits. Now that we've discussed the divine protections that have been activated in your life, it's time to focus on something equally transformative: your presence. There's something profound happening every time you walk into a room, speak to someone, or simply exist in a space. The frequency that you now emit affects everyone around you, and it's a phenomenon that you may not even fully realize yet. Your energy is now operating at a level that causes a ripple effect. People, places, and situations are all impacted by your presence in ways that may seem subtle on the surface, but are undeniably significant. And this isn't something you can control or turn off. It's simply a byproduct of who you've become, of the frequency you now embody. The first way this shows up is through magnetic attraction. People who are operating on a similar frequency to yours are naturally drawn to you. They may not fully understand why they feel so comfortable around you, why they feel heard and seen and understood in a way that others don't offer. But there's an undeniable pull, a kind of energetic magnetism that draws them in. And here's what's fascinating: it's not just that these people are attracted to you because of your energy, it's that you are in a way a reflection of their own potential. They are drawn to the version of themselves that they see in you, even if they can't articulate it. You serve as a mirror for their own highest self, reminding them of their own capacity to rise, to heal, to become more than they ever thought possible. You may notice this happening more and more, where people who once seemed distant or indifferent are suddenly drawn to you, reaching out for support or seeking your company. It's as if they can feel the light you're emitting, even if they don't consciously recognize it. Your energy has become a beacon, and those whose souls resonate with yours will naturally find their way to you. But there's another side to this phenomenon that you must understand as well. While people of similar frequencies are magnetically attracted to you, those who operate at lower frequencies will have the opposite reaction. Your presence will make them uncomfortable, even if they don't understand why. This is not a reflection of you or your actions, it's simply the nature of how energy works. When you walk into a room, those who are living in shadows, those who are holding on to lies, fear, or negativity may find themselves irritated or agitated by your mere presence. You may notice them becoming defensive, disinterested, or even outright hostile. Again, this is not because of anything you're doing wrong, it's because your energy is illuminating something within them that they are unwilling or unable to face. This is why you may have noticed that certain relationships are no longer serving you, or why some connections have started to fade. You've likely felt the subtle shift where someone who was once a close friend now feels distant, or where you simply no longer feel aligned with certain individuals or environments. And though this might feel uncomfortable at first, it's actually a form of divine protection. Those relationships that no longer resonate with your higher frequency are naturally falling away to make space for the ones that will truly nourish you. The truth is that you are now a walking mirror for others. And while some will be drawn to the light, others will feel repelled by it, even if they can't consciously explain why. And here's the key: you do not have to change for them. You do not have to dim your light or adjust your frequency to make others feel more comfortable. This is a part of your journey that's crucial to understand. The work you're doing, the energy you're holding, is not for everyone. And that's okay. Your role is not to convince others to rise to your level. It's simply to stand firm in your own light, to continue shining, and to allow those who are meant to resonate with you to find you. It's important to recognize that this doesn't make you better than others. This isn't about superiority, it's about alignment. You are now aligned with a higher frequency, and those who are operating at a similar vibration will naturally gravitate toward you. But this also means that you no longer have to spend energy convincing people to join you or trying to fit into environments that no longer align with your soul's path. So if you find that certain people are falling away from your life, or if you're starting to feel more isolated, understand that this is not a punishment, it's a divine realignment. You are being prepared for what's next for the soul connections that will come into your life at just the right time. But there's another layer to this transformation, your ability to see clearly. Because you are now emitting such a high frequency, your perception has been expanded. This is where your intentions radar, which I mentioned earlier, becomes especially significant. Not only are you able to sense the energy of others more keenly, but you can now detect things in the world that you couldn't perceive before. You've become highly intuitive, perhaps more so than ever before. You can feel the truth behind words, hear the underlying tones in conversations that others miss, and see the hidden motivations behind actions that seem innocent on the surface. This expanded perception is part of your spiritual evolution, and it's now an integral part of your experience. What this means for you is that you're able to make choices more clearly. You're able to navigate situations, relationships, and decisions with a deeper sense of certainty, even when others are confused or uncertain. You are now tuned into a higher frequency of discernment, and it will guide you in every area of your life. This expanded intuition isn't just a mental process, it's a spiritual one. Your soul is now operating in a way that aligns you with a greater understanding of the energies at play around you. And as you continue to grow into this new frequency, your inner guidance will become stronger, clearer, and more undeniable. The next piece of this transformation is perhaps the most profound, the idea that you are not just a passive participant in your life anymore. You are a creator. You are a force of change, and the reason your energy is so powerful is because you now understand that you have the ability to shape your own reality. The world around you is beginning to shift in response to the new frequency you are emitting. And as you step into this new role as a creator of your reality, you will begin to see how the universe aligns with your energy. Synchronicities will increase. Opportunities that once seemed impossible will begin to unfold. Your life will feel more fluid, more aligned, as if the universe itself is working on your behalf. It's a beautiful, expansive feeling to know that you are no longer at the mercy of external circumstances. You have learned how to harness your own power, your own energy, and your own purpose. And with that comes an understanding that you can create the life you want one step at a time in alignment with your highest self. As you continue to embrace this new level of energy, you will discover that not only are your relationships changing, but your external world is changing as well. Things that once seemed out of reach, things that once felt impossible, will begin to manifest in your life. And it won't be because you're forcing anything. It will be because you are now operating at a higher level of existence, and that frequency is naturally drawing the right experiences toward you. But it all begins with understanding that your presence is no longer just about you. It's about how you impact others, how you interact with the world, and how you use your energy to create the reality you desire. You are no longer simply a passive observer. You are a conscious creator, and the universe is responding to your frequency. Your energy is a gift, and it's one that you are beginning to understand and harness. From this point forward, you will notice that the world around you begins to change in response to the new light you are embodying. The people you attract, the opportunities that arise, and the synchronicities that unfold are all part of this divine realignment. This is your time to step fully into your power. Now that you've stepped into this higher frequency, and you've begun to understand the profound effect your presence has on the world around you, there's another crucial truth that you must internalize. This truth will shift how you perceive your past, your struggles, and even the pain you've endured. Because there is a gift hidden in every wound you've faced, a gift that was never visible while you were going through the trials, but which now, in the light of your transformation, is undeniable. Every hardship, every wound you thought would break you, has contained within it a treasure. These aren't just lessons. These are gifts, transformative, life-changing gifts that have been crafted by the very experiences that were once your deepest suffering. This is a truth that may be difficult to accept at first. It may feel counterintuitive, even offensive to suggest that the betrayals, the losses, the betrayals and the pain were not merely cruel twists of fate, but rather part of a higher plan. A plan designed to unlock something far greater than you ever imagined. Let's take a moment to reflect on some of the most painful moments in your life. Think about the times when you felt betrayed, misunderstood, abandoned, or deeply hurt. Maybe it was the person who promised they would always be there, only to turn their back when you needed them most. Maybe it was the loss of something or someone you thought was irreplaceable. Maybe it was the deep loneliness that seemed to engulf you during some of the darkest chapters of your journey. Those moments of intense pain left scars, didn't they? And for a long time, those scars felt like a part of you, like something that defined who you were. You may have believed that these wounds would remain with you forever, marking you, holding you back from becoming your true self. But here's the truth. Those wounds weren't punishments. They were the soil from which your soul grew. Every single time you were knocked down, every time you felt like you couldn't take another step, something inside you began to shift. That something was your ability to transform. Pain, in its rawest form, has the power to either destroy or elevate. For most souls, pain leads to bitterness, cynicism, and fear. For you, it led to depth wisdom and the ability to love even more deeply. Instead of closing off, you opened up. Instead of becoming hardened, you softened. Instead of allowing the pain to define you, you allowed it to refine you. This process of transformation is not an easy one. In fact, it's excruciatingly difficult at times. But the souls that go through this process and emerge on the other side are those that move beyond the established levels of spiritual growth. These souls have learned how to alchemize suffering into power. They've learned how to take their wounds, their deepest pains, and turn them into the very thing that propels them forward. So when you look back at those times of darkness, I want you to see them differently. I want you to see them as the forge in which your soul was tempered. That betrayal. It gave you the ability to see through illusions and recognize true intentions. That loss. It created the space for new growth, new opportunities, and new connections to enter your life. That loneliness. It gave you the gift of self-reliance and inner strength, teaching you that you could stand on your own regardless of external circumstances. None of these painful experiences were wasted. They were all part of your evolution, all part of the process that elevated you to where you are now. And the more you embrace this truth, the more powerful you will become. Because the more you accept the gifts hidden within your wounds, the more you empower yourself to continue your journey with clarity and purpose. This is what it means to be a master of your own transformation. You don't just passively endure your suffering. You actively transmute it. You don't let pain define you. You allow it to refine you, and as you continue to do this, you step into a higher state of being, a state that is no longer bound by the limits of ordinary human experience. Now, let's take this a step further. Think about the ways in which you have grown in wisdom, in compassion, and in strength as a result of these experiences. You've learned how to forgive when others would have held on to grudges. You've learned how to give from a place of emptiness even when logic told you to conserve your energy. You've learned how to trust in your own inner knowing even when the world around you seemed uncertain. These are the gifts that suffering has given you, gifts that no amount of wealth, success, or worldly achievement could ever provide. In fact, as you continue to embrace the lessons hidden in your pain, you will find that you begin to radiate a wisdom that others are drawn to. People will start to notice the calm in your presence, the way you speak with such conviction and clarity. They will see that you carry something within you that can't be bought or taught. It's the wisdom of a soul that has been through the fire and emerged more brilliant, more luminous than before. This wisdom is not something that you need to try to cultivate, it simply flows from you. It's a natural byproduct of the transformation that has taken place within you. And as you continue to step into this wisdom, you will find that the world around you begins to respond to it. People will turn to you for guidance, for support, for clarity. Your energy will become a beacon for others who are also walking through their own struggles and seeking a way to transform their pain into power. This is the work you are being called to do now. Not only to continue your own journey of growth, but to share the wisdom you've gained with others. You are being called to be a guide, a mentor, a source of light for those who are still in the midst of their own darkness. And as you step into this role, you will find that the universe begins to align everything in your favor. Opportunities will appear. People will be drawn to you. You will find that everything you need to fulfill your mission will be provided in divine timing. But first, you must recognize that the gifts in your wounds are not just for you, they are to be shared. They are not meant to be hoarded or kept hidden. They are meant to be passed on to others who are still struggling, still lost in the darkness, still searching for a way out. And as you step into this role, you will find that the blessings you've received multiply, that the universe rewards those who use their gifts for the highest good of all. So I ask you now, can you look at your past, at all the pain you've endured, and see it as the gift it truly is? Can you see how each challenge, each wound has shaped you into the person you are today? Can you embrace the wisdom you've gained, the strength you've cultivated, and the love you've preserved even in the face of overwhelming adversity? If you can, then you have truly understood what it means to transcend the limitations that once defined you. And with that understanding, you can now step forward into your destiny, into the next phase of your spiritual journey. The world needs what you have to offer. The universe is waiting for you to fully embrace your power and begin sharing your light with others. It is time for you to step into your role as a guide, as a beacon of transformation, and as a living example of what is possible when a soul transcends its limitations. The pain you've endured has made you strong, wise, and compassionate, and now it is time for you to use that strength, that wisdom, and that compassion to uplift others who are still struggling. You are no longer bound by your past. You are no longer defined by your wounds. You are a living testament to the power of transformation, and the world is waiting for you to share that power. Now that you understand the depth of transformation you've undergone and how each hardship you've faced has been an essential part of your evolution, there is an even greater truth you must come to terms with. This truth will shape everything that is about to unfold in your life, and once you accept it, you will realize that the journey ahead of you is not only inevitable, but divinely guided. What lies ahead for you now is not a random sequence of events, nor is it a continuation of the struggle that once defined your existence. No, what awaits you is an acceleration of everything you've worked so hard to manifest. It's an unfolding of your true purpose, an unveiling of the next steps in your mission, and an invitation to step fully into the power that you've been cultivating all along. And the first thing you will experience is clarity. For so long, you may have felt as though you were walking in the dark, unsure of your purpose or the direction you were meant to go in. The doubts, the confusion, and the constant searching may have created an internal restlessness, a sense that you were meant for something more, but weren't quite sure what that more was. You have felt the calling, the pull of something bigger than yourself, but you couldn't see the full picture. But now, as you step into this elevated state, clarity will begin to flood your life. The fog that once obscured your path will lift, and you will see exactly where you're headed. It won't be a vague feeling of purpose or an abstract concept. No, the pieces of your life will start to fit together in a way that makes perfect sense. You'll begin to understand why things happened the way they did. You'll recognize the connections between your past struggles and the lessons they imparted. You'll understand why certain relationships, opportunities, and challenges came into your life at the exact time they did. Every experience will start to make sense in the context of your higher purpose. This clarity will bring with it a deep sense of peace, It will allow you to move forward with confidence, knowing that you are not aimlessly wandering, but walking a path that has been divinely orchestrated. The sense of uncertainty will fade, and what will take its place is a quiet, unwavering knowing that you are on the exact path you are meant to be on. But clarity doesn't stop there. As you gain a clearer understanding of your purpose, you will also experience something else, an acceleration of synchronicities. In the past, you may have noticed the occasional coincidence in your life moments when everything seemed to fall into place, when the right person showed up at the right time, or when an opportunity appeared out of nowhere. But these synchronicities, though meaningful, were often sporadic, fleeting, and hard to fully grasp. Now, however, the universe will begin to align with your elevated frequency in a more profound way. The coincidences that once seemed rare will become a daily occurrence. The people you need to meet will appear at just the right moment, almost as if the universe is moving things into place for you. Resources you've been waiting for will arrive at exactly the moment they are needed. Opportunities that seemed out of reach will manifest with ease. You will become a magnet for everything that resonates with your soul's frequency. And this won't just be about material things or external success. The synchronicities will go far deeper. They will manifest in the people you meet, the connections you form, and the experiences that come into your life to propel you forward. Everything will begin to feel as though it's falling into place, as if the universe itself is conspiring to support you. But it's not just the big things that will shift. There will be smaller, more subtle shifts as well. You will find that the mundane aspects of life are now imbued with meaning. What once felt like ordinary, insignificant moments will become powerful reminders of the divine orchestration at play in your life. A conversation with a stranger, an unexpected encounter, a small gesture, these will all take on new significance, adding to the growing sense of alignment that you feel. You may even find that you begin to see signs, symbols, or synchronicities that point you in the direction of your higher purpose. Whether it's through repeated numbers, dreams, or messages from the people around you, these signs will be like breadcrumbs leading you toward the next step in your journey. But there's more. Along with the acceleration of synchronicities, you will experience what I call the final cleansing. This is a process of spiritual decluttering where everything that no longer serves you will begin to fall away. Relationships, situations, beliefs, and habits that once felt important will no longer resonate with your elevated frequency. They will naturally dissolve, leaving space for the new and the aligned. You may find that relationships that were once central to your life begin to shift or end altogether. People who no longer resonate with your new state of being will naturally drift away, and this is not a loss, but a divine clearing. This final cleansing is not a painful process, though it may feel uncomfortable at times. It is the universe making room for what truly aligns with your soul's purpose. And though it may be difficult to let go of things that once played a significant role in your life, trust that they were only part of the foundation that has now been laid. The new phase of your journey is calling, and it requires space to grow. This phase of cleansing will also extend to your inner world. Old thought patterns, limiting beliefs, and past trauma that may have been holding you back will begin to release. You will feel lighter, more free, as if a weight has been lifted from your shoulders. This release will allow you to step into your true power, unfettered by the past. As this cleansing process unfolds, you will also notice something else: the arrival of your soul tribe. The people who are meant to walk with you on this next phase of your journey will begin to show up in your life. These are not just random people. They are souls who resonate at a frequency that matches yours. Souls who have been waiting for you to fully step into your power so they could connect with you. These people will understand you in ways that others cannot. They will support you, challenge you, and encourage you to step even further into your purpose. Together, you will build a network of support, love, and growth that will propel you forward as you continue to fulfill your divine mission. But this process of transformation and alignment is not just about external circumstances. It's about you. It's about stepping fully into the person you were always meant to be. And now, as the final pieces of your old life fall away and as the clarity and synchronicities continue to unfold, it's time for you to ask yourself, what is the next step? What will you do with this newfound power, this clarity, this alignment? The universe is ready to give you everything you need to fulfill your mission, but it is up to you to embrace it, to step forward with confidence and trust that you are exactly where you need to be. The time for waiting is over. The time for action has arrived. We have now reached the point where everything converges. The revelations, the transformations, the inner work, and the divine protections that have been activated in your life, they've all led you to this moment. And what I'm about to share with you is the most important message of all the message that heaven has been waiting to communicate to you. It's a message that is uniquely for you, one that has been woven into the very fabric of your soul's journey. This message is not for the faint-hearted. It is for those who have traversed the deepest valleys, who have weathered the most intense storms, and who have come out on the other side with their hearts still open and their light still shining. This is for those who have suffered and yet still choose to rise. For those who have faced betrayal, loss, and heartache, yet continue to trust in love and goodness. Heaven wants you to know that everything you've sacrificed, everything you've endured was seen. Every tear you've shed in silence, every time you chose the difficult path instead of the easy one, every time you gave, when it seemed like you had nothing left, it was all noticed. And it was all counted. There was a time when you may have felt invisible, as though your sacrifices didn't matter, as though the world was blind to your struggles. You might have wondered why others seemed to move forward with ease while you were stuck in a place of waiting, facing challenge after challenge. You may have thought, does anyone see me? Does anyone see the pain I've carried alone? I am here to tell you heaven sees you. Every single thing you've been through was observed. Every act of kindness when you had no energy to give. Every time you chose integrity over convenience. Every time you loved when you were rejected. Every time you stayed in your truth even when it was uncomfortable or unpopular. None of it went unnoticed. And I know it can feel like no one saw you, no one understood. But that's not the case. Heaven has been collecting the evidence of your journey, and every moment of pain, every tear, every hardship is being transformed into blessings. You might not see it yet, but the spiritual realm is already in motion, preparing to reward you in ways that you cannot even begin to fathom. It may not have been clear while you were going through it, but those moments were never for nothing. Those challenges were never meant to break you. They were meant to build you. They were meant to refine your spirit, to expand your capacity for love, and to prepare you for the role you are about to step into. The very experiences that seemed like obstacles were in fact the stepping stones toward your divine destiny. You see, heaven's response to your sacrifices is not just a distant abstract idea. It is already manifesting in your life, whether you recognize it or not. Every tear you cried, every injustice you endured, every time you chose love over hate is being transformed into something tangible. Your emotional investments are being transmuted into divine rewards. Heaven wants you to know that the time of waiting is over. For so long, you've felt like you've been in a spiritual waiting room, waiting for the moment when everything would align, when your prayers would be answered, and when the doors would open. You may have watched others move forward while you seemed stuck, waiting for the divine to deliver what was promised. But now, the waiting is over. Everything that was happening in the background, everything that was being prepared is now coming into fruition. The divine timing has aligned, and the blessings that you've earned through your perseverance, your faith, and your courage are ready to flow into your life. The truth is that you've been in preparation all along. The delay wasn't a punishment. It wasn't because you weren't good enough or didn't deserve what's coming. The delay was a divine preparation, a period of refinement. Heaven has been working on your behalf, setting things in motion, aligning the stars, and clearing the way for you to step into your full potential. And now that you've reached this point, it's time for you to take full ownership of your power. It's time for you to stop playing small, to stop dimming your light to make others feel comfortable, and to stop seeking permission to be who you truly are. You are no longer a passive participant in your life. You are the creator. You are the one who has the power to shape your reality and fulfill your divine mission. And here's the kicker. You don't have to do it alone. As you move forward, the people who are meant to walk with you, the souls who are aligned with your mission, will begin to show up. These are not just casual acquaintances. These are soul connections, people who have been sent to help you, to support you, and to walk alongside you as you fulfill your purpose. They are your soul tribe, and they will find you guided by the same divine energy that has been guiding you all along. But I want you to be clear on this. You do not need to seek approval from others. You do not need to wait for anyone's validation or permission to step into your power. Your worth is not determined by others' opinions. Your path is not defined by the limitations of others. The truth is, you are a trailblazer. You are a pioneer of your own spiritual journey. And while the world may not yet fully recognize the depth of your transformation, that does not diminish your power. The Creator sees you. Heaven sees you. And those who are meant to understand your worth, to walk with you, will recognize your energy and will be drawn to you naturally. But there's something else Heaven wants you to understand as you move forward. You are deeply loved, not for what you do, but for who you are. You have spent so much of your life wondering if you were worthy of love, of success, of happiness. You've questioned if your sacrifices would ever be rewarded. And I need you to understand that your worth has never been in question. You were loved before you even took a breath. You were loved before you endured all those challenges. And you will always be loved. This love is not based on your actions. It's not conditional. It's not something you have to earn. It simply is. And once you realize this deep truth that you are loved for your essence, for your being, you will be free. Free to show up as you are, free to step fully into your power, and free to create the life that aligns with your true self. And the final piece of this message is this: your story is not over. You may think that the struggles you've faced have been the defining chapters of your life, that the pain, the setbacks, the disappointments have been the peak of your journey. But I am here to tell you that these were only the prologue. The real story is just beginning. What you have been through has prepared you for what is coming. Everything you've learned, everything you've faced, everything you've endured has been in service of the next chapter of your life. You are about to enter a new phase, one that will be even more significant, more impactful, and more aligned with your higher purpose than anything you've experienced so far. And what's most incredible is that you are not walking into this next chapter alone. Heaven is with you. Your soul tribe is with you. And every step you take from here on out will be supported by the divine forces that have been guiding you all along. So the question now is, what will you do with this truth? What will you do with the love, the clarity, the protection, and the gifts that have been bestowed upon you? Will you step forward into your full power, or will you shrink back in fear? The choice is yours, but know this. You have already proven that you are more than capable. You have already surpassed the limits that others once thought impossible. It is time for you to shine. It is time for you to step into the fullness of who you are and to live the life that you were always destined to live.